So let me introduce you to primary carbon, secondary carbon, tertiary carbon, and quaternary carbon. So when you talk about primary carbon, what comes into your mind? So a primary carbon has a formula of CH, and H. So what makes this to be a primary carbon? What makes this to be a primary carbon is that it is only attached to one different group. You see, this is an alkyl group. So whenever you see R in organic chemistry, we are talking about alkyl. So repeat after me: alkyl group. So whenever you see R, we are talking about alkyl group. So this is a primary carbon. Because it is only attached to one different group, which is this alkyl group. So when it's attached to two different group, so what are we going to call it? When it's attached to two different group, so we are going to end up calling it what? A secondary carbon. So a secondary carbon is a carbon which is attached to two different group. A primary carbon is a carbon which is attached to only what? One different group and have 3 hydrogen atom. A secondary carbon is a carbon which is attached to two different group and has only 2 hydrogen atom. A tertiary carbon is a carbon which is attached to 3 different group and has only hydrogen atom. So I decided to call this one arrow prime, indicating that all these 3 different group, all these alkyl group are 3 different groups. So alkyl group have the same molecular formula of alkane, but the only difference is it has a subtracted hydrogen. Look what I mean. Alkyl group has general formula of CnS2n. Instead of +2, which is in alkane, we now have what? +1. So alkyl group has deficient of hydrogen of -1. So when you're talking about alkyl group is the same thing as alkane, but when you remove one hydrogen atom from an alkane, we're talking about alkyl group. Don't worry if you don't understand that, I'm coming to that. So calm down, let's focus on our main purpose of naming of alkanes. So what about quaternary carbon? So quaternary carbon is a carbon which attaches itself to 3 different group. So 3 different group we know here is 4 different alkyl groups. When I'm talking about quaternary carbon, quaternary carbon is a carbon which is attached to 4 different group. So 4 different groups. Since there are 4 different groups, I'll call this arrow prime, arrow prime, arrow prime. So meaning that all these 4 groups are definitely different group. They are all different. None of them is the same. They are all different, meaning that maybe this one can be a methyl group, this one can decide to be an ethyl group, so anything. So when you talk about quaternary carbon, we generally called a carbon which is attached to 4 different groups. So when a carbon is attached to 4 different groups, we call this a quaternary carbon or a chiral carbon. So a chiral carbon is a carbon which is attached to 4 different groups. So you eventually see this chiral carbon when I talk about biochemistry. So when you're studying biochemistry, you see how this chiral carbon functions very well, especially in proteins. Proteins usually focus on these chiral carbons. So chiral carbons are carbons which is attached to 4 different groups. So chiral carbons are carbons which is attached to what? 4 different groups. So let's